A new adventure is about to begin in Heroes vs. Hordes, and the Trapper is stuck in a cage. Break him out fast. Why? Because this man-bear-pig hybrid just might be the most exciting new hero we've seen in Heroes vs. Hordes in a long time. He looks like a literal masterclass in hero design, but that's not even the most impressive part. At first glance, to me, he combines all the best parts of the top-tier heroes we've seen in the past few months. However, what truly sets him apart are the details. He lays claim to one of the best globals in the game, and a forge path that might just turn him into an animal when fighting against the Horde. So, is Trapper just another cool concept, or an actual game changer? Let's dig into his skills, globals, and forge, and find out just how dangerous this silent predator really is. Welcome to Coles' first look at Trapper, the crossbow-wielding, bear trap-laying menace with a mustache that may or may not actually be connected to his face. The first thing I do when any new hero comes out is take a look at their globals, because at the very least, they can at least make your roster stronger. But boy, was I pumped when I scrolled down. This guy is rocking the second best set of globals I've seen in the game thus far, based on my new scoring system. And I really like how they're designing these globals. They put two really kind of bottom of the barrel globals for his first and second ones. Plus 12.5% physical damage is basically the worst thing you can get, and plus 5 evasion is nice for endgame content but not really helpful until then. But then it starts getting really good if you can star him up. Plus 1 physical projectiles for his faction bonus is top tier. Generally, the way projectiles work, plus 1 to any projectile is about the equivalent to like a 5 to 10% increase in your damage. And this faction bonus is going to be a big buff to people like Barbarian, Druid, and Big Game Hunter, particularly when I'm thinking about Boss Brawl. Unfortunately, his faction camp bonus is just more physical damage, which isn't the best but not the worst. But take a look at this. His level 120 global is plus 1 projectiles, and that's all projectiles. This makes him only the second hero after the Bombardier to get this legendary level global. That's a top tier, almost 1.1 multiple to your damage. And the icing on the cake is a straight up multiple of 1.05 to your damage from his 3-star forge. Add it all up, and your roster can get anywhere from a 1.1 to a 1.2 multiple to their entire damage, depending on the faction. And that's just his globals. So let's take a look at his skills. At level 40, the Trapper gets Bear Trap. Every 4 seconds, the hero throws 2 bear traps. When enemies move over them, they receive damage and are stunned for 2 seconds. Bear traps rearm every second and can retrigger up to 4 times. So, you can have multiple bear traps all around the battlefield retriggering over time. And because he's one of the new heroes, he gets tremendous scaling and damage with his star level. It's actually almost 5 times more damage per star level. So over 10,000 damage at star level 3. That's a big number. And it stuns, which is disruption number 1 in his kit. And at level 80, he gets his second skill, caltrops. These drop every 4 seconds. When enemies step on them, they take damage and are slowed for 2 seconds. And that scales up nearly 8 times by level 3. And did you hear I mentioned slow in there? That's disruption number 2 in his kit. Woo! His ultimate explosive trap at level 100 triggers on weapon kill. When full, it releases an explosive trap that deals damage when enemies step on it. While the area of effect seems rather small, you don't need to run ultimate duration jewels because it remains on the battlefield indefinitely. So that frees up a jewel slot for something else, which is always nice. And that, my friends, is everything that you could want in a kit. Stun, slow, and incredibly scaling damage. So now let's take a look at his forge. And I can tell you, good things are happening there. First off, it's always good to see what the hero's main weapon evolves off of, and his trap shot evolves off of Duplicator Tome. Duplicator Tome is already one of the strongest tomes in the game, so it's going to be easy to add into your build, and it makes evolving his weapon very straightforward. And now what we're looking for in the forge are choices that will improve his skills and not his weapon. Some of the best heroes in this game have forges that interact with their skills. Take for example Artificer, who needs to proc energy infusion. His level 2-star forge helps you do that. And Trapper fits right into this category, where all of his forges are actually improvements to his skills and not his weapon. But with seemingly meaningful decisions. And meaningful decisions are the best part of video games. Guys, this is gonna get good. His first forge either lets you buff his level 40 skill or his level 80 skill. Without having played him yet, I feel like buffing his level 80 skill is going to be better than buffing his level 40 skill. But who knows? And you might have to decide based on the event mode that you're playing, which is perfect. And at 2-star Forge, now you're going to have to figure out, are you going to improve one of his skills again, or his ultimate? These are more meaningful choices. I have no idea which one is going to be better, but I'm guessing you want to improve the ultimate in events and modes where you can actually proc the ultimate, and then you're going to focus on his traps in modes where you can't. So he's got a skill for boss brawl, and he's got a skill for hard mode. But you get to choose! Oh man! You want choices in this game. That's what makes it fun. And this guy has already got 2. Now, I already talked about this earlier, but his 3-star Forge is a 1.05 multiple to damage, which is above average based on all of the global forges, and you'll take that. It's a straight amp to your overall damage. At the 4-star Forge, you actually get a new weapon on top of your trap chute. It's called Spike Trap, and now these will get thrown around the battlefield and remain like his other traps. And finally, at 5 stars, you get one last meaningful decision. Do you want those spike traps to bleed enemies or poison enemies? And while I think bleeding is going to be better most of the time because it's an incredibly rare status, you can choose what you need either based on the event or based on your weapons. So if you already have Phantom Fang, then maybe you don't need the bleed and you can go poison. But either way, you see how you're making a choice? That's what you want. And the great thing here was that all of his forge options improved either skills, his ultimate, or his evolved weapon. And so we're talking potentially crazy damage amps everywhere. Because those skills have such crazy scaling with star level, anytime you're improving his skill and not his weapon, you're going to be maximizing your damage to the upteenth percent. And so before I get ahead of myself and start calling him the best hero in the game, let's at least circle back to his base level progressions and his base stats. The Trapper's base weapon is called Sharpshoot, is ranged, and it auto-aims, both things you really want in a hero. Auto-aiming ranged heroes make it much easier to kite in boss brawl or just generally do more damage. And that's basically just about everything you could ask for in hero design. The stats he gets from level progression aren't particularly interesting. There is some plus movement speed in there, and his base is plus movement speed, which will make him usable for the early stages of Nightmare mode. However, his 140 skill is plus 3 projectiles, and most of those 140 skills are essentially a times 1.15 multiple to your damage, and 3 projectiles will just about do that. So all in all, the Trapper has just about everything you could want in new hero design, given the current state of the game. And so that was a whole lot to take in, and you can tell I'm pretty excited about this guy. So let me summarize why I think he's going to be really, really good. He's ranged, he auto-aims, his skills scale incredibly well, and have built-in disruption in the form of a stun and a slow. His Forge amps his skills and not his weapon, and he has the second best set of globals in the game. Dudes, if his traps hit literally anything, he's got the makings of one of the best heroes in the game. But note, he's gonna take a lot of investment to hit this ceiling. I've been talking about 3-star Trapper this whole time with a 5-star Forge. That's 8,000 super tokens, which is 8 weeks of grinding in the arena, and 150 shards, which means you're gonna have to put a lot of investment into him from things like faction wars, boss brawl, and just general events where hero shards are available. But if he's anything like that green guy we've all come to know and love, he will scale tremendously well with the investment. So for the next 30 days, you have to remember to always do your adventures. And I'm Coles, a high-level HVH player. You can ask me questions here, on Reddit, and on Discord. And now, I did this review without ever actually played him and based purely on reading his stats, and so I could be totally wrong, but hopefully I'm not. He just got launched last night, and I wrote this up immediately. So this is literally my first impression and my first take on the hero. I'm hoping all of these things work together to create a really interesting hero. And I have not been saying this about all the Avenger heroes recently. This is the first hero I'm actually excited about since Shield Warden. He seems different with the potential with a super high cap if you can get him all the way up. And so, again, remember to always do your adventures! Hopefully the Trapper is good, because I just went all hype train on a guy I've never played before.